What's up, witchy fam? Drew here, and today I want to talk about smudge, sprays, and incense. I have wanted to talk on this topic for quite some time, actually. Every time I watch other witches show off their incense and talk about how they smell, it just really, I enjoy watching it, and it just really makes me want to do a video like that myself. So I've been wanting to do an incense show and tell kind of video for ages. But for one reason or another, other things kept coming up that took precedence for me. So I hadn't gotten around to it yet. I've been toying with the idea of talking about smudge recently because, well, this is what my channel is for, essentially, for me to share my thoughts, feelings, and ideas, hopefully with like-minded people, and have discussions and whatnot. So I've been playing with the idea of doing a video where I talk about smudge a little bit. So firstly, let me start off by saying that I don't really smudge my home with white sage. Having said that, this little stick here is white sage that has been coated in dragon's blood. It is one that I primarily use when I feel a need to bring in protection. It was the size of this one when it was purchased, and that could be, it's at least 8 years ago, if not 12. I know this because I have not purchased a smudge stick since I left my job at Compass Rose, the witchy metaphysical shop I worked at, and that was 7 years ago. There's a couple reasons why it would last that long. One being my husband and I only smudge the house when we feel it's absolutely necessary. We have lots of wards and protective elements around the home, around the property, just in various rooms, and with all the crystals and the way that we don't even allow fighting. We don't fight. There's no fighting in my house. I only invite, for the most part, people I love and trust into my home. There are those rare exceptions, like right now our house is needing to be rebuilt a bit, so we're going to have people in. But for the most part, the energy is very stable within our home. So it's not something that needs to be done on a super regular basis. Also, we have many methods for cleansing. We use sound. We'll use singing bowls and bells and rattles. We'll use smudge. We'll use sprays. We'll use incense. There are many methods we use to clear energy. So we're not always reaching for a smudge stick. Having said that, let me talk about the smudge we do use. So like I said, there is this white sage with the dragon's blood on it that we use every once in a while. Now, as I said, I don't typically use white sage to smudge. I'm just using the rest of that up. I do, however, work with white sage. I like it loose. I use it in spellcraft. It has many properties, just as any other herb does. I typically use it for wisdom, guidance, and communication. Now, I personally think that sage smells amazing. So does my family. So that's not the reason why I choose not to burn it. I do have Native American ancestry very close on one side of my family and a little further back on the other side of my family. So I have no objections. I don't feel like it's cultural appropriation. For me, it doesn't call as strongly to me for clearing energy as some other methods. As I said, there are other methods I find that resonate with me more. So that's why I choose not to use white sage so much. This one, I can't remember, it's Yerba Santa and something else. There's no sage in here. I haven't gotten to it yet, obviously, and this is just as old as the other one probably, or around, it's at least 7 years old. I do use Palo Santo. I actually have a little nugget in here that's just about done. But again, I use it so sparingly and so rarely that I don't know. I'm going to probably continue to use it, even though there are also issues regarding sustainability and the ethics behind the practices. but I don't use it often enough. I mean, I buy it every 10 years. I just, you know, a little bundle of it. I don't know. I feel that I will continue to work with it, but that could change in the future depending on my mindset. I don't know. There is this, it's mugwort and something else. And of course, all the different herbs bring different properties in. So that's part of why I haven't used this, because for me, this would be used for specific purposes. I also make my own smudge sticks made from herbs from my garden, and it is just thyme, basil, and mint. And then there's this one that is also from my garden, and it's thyme, basil, and lemon balm. And this is my favorite right now. Trish, the lovely Trish from BeanBagHagWag, sent this to me. And this is the one that I am currently using. And it's so funny, every time I do spellcraft, and my son is home, he'll come out of his room and be like, oh, it smells so good, because I've burnt this sage. And there's all, like, I can see there's rosemary and hydrangea, and I know that there is sage in here. There's all kinds of stuff up in here. I use various types of herbs and wood for smudging my home and myself in my areas. I don't have any cedar wood right now. All I have is my cedar bark. But cedar to me is the best. For me, it's threefold. So it comes in and it clears the energy, and then it sort of creates this sacred space through consecration, and also adds a layer of protection. So it is, for me, just the best when it comes to cleansing. Now, I don't have any cedar wood. My plan is to, when the nature trail that I walk typically, that I've shared on this channel, opens back up, because hasn't been repaired. There's lots of bridges and whatnot on it, and they haven't opened it back up to the public since Hurricane Florence came through. But when they do, I'm going to start walking again. Obviously, I need more cedar bark, which I usually use in spellcraft and whatnot, but I want to start collecting some fallen twigs, because I collect the fallen bark on the ground when the tree is done with it. And I want to start collecting some little twigs and maybe try using that for smudging. I also have the idea to go to my local hardware store and look for untreated cedar shims and use those for smudging, because as I said, I don't really have a source. I mean, I could look on the internet, but if I could just use the wood from my local forest for this purpose, then of course that's what I want to do. Next on my list of cleansing practices would be the sprays that I make, the waters I make. Now, there is a water that I make that I don't have at present. Occasionally I will make rose water. Now, I typically like to do this for specific spells or whatnot right when I want to use it, because it doesn't age well. It doesn't preserve for very long. It needs to be used pretty immediately after being made. As far as that goes, I've talked about it in another video in the past, but Tasha from Tarot with Tasha has a good video up on how to make rose water. Anybody I mention in this video, I will leave a link in the description for their channel or a video or what have you. So I don't have any rose water at the moment, but these are my other waters that I work with. Now, when I first started making cleansing waters, some of my very first ones were stone charged waters. And the thought process behind it was I would sell them in the shop that I worked in. There are crystals that are very expensive, even for very small specimens, such as moldavite. You can expect to pay a good amount of money for a nice, even just pretty small, well, that's even pretty small piece of moldavite. And so not everybody necessarily wants to make that investment, isn't necessarily that drawn to the crystal. So I would take crystals such as moldavite, and I would stone charge the water. That way you could get the energy of that crystal in the water for a lot less money. Now, of course, I didn't leave the stones in the water, but the way that I make my waters today, I do leave some stones in them. I don't leave stones in my waters for personal use. You can see this, it's like, I used to handwrite them and everything. This is not a stone charge. This is like second generation. This is third generation. This water that I sell and that I use personally all the time, every day just about, is storm water. So I collect the water during thunderstorms, tropical storms, or hurricanes, and I keep the water in mason jars. And now you can see that there is sediment in the bottom of this jar. And what I'll do is shake it up, and it gets all cloudy and weird, but then you let it set, and I keep them in the fridge, and eventually that sediment will settle all back down to the bottom. But the water is infused with that, and what that is in my storm water is ground kyanite, ground selenite, and ground black tourmaline. And let me tell you, grinding black tourmaline is not fun. But that way the water is infused with that energy. And then in the bottles I sell, I keep a piece of quartz, and I keep a piece of quartz and a piece of amethyst in the bottle as well. And it's for clearing disharmonious energy, raising spiritual energy, and vibration. Not only are the stones involved, but I also add some essential oils, which I'm thinking of changing the oils that I use. So we'll see what happens with that. It's evolving. There's going to be a 4th gen, I guess. I keep, this is that same storm water that's in here, and as I sell, I use this actually for physical cleaning in my studio and in my magical spaces. This I will sometimes use for physical cleaning as well, although most of the time it's more energetic cleansing. I mean, I say them like they're different, but they're not. It's just, I mean, instead of just necessarily spraying myself with the spray, I'll physically spray my desk and clean it with this spray. This is just an old oil can that I found at a thrift shop. It had slits in it, so I sealed them up with beeswax, and I love this thing. And you can't see it, but it gives off the most, the mist is so fine. So I use that for my storm water for my personal use. Then we have my snow water. Now this is just an old perfume bottle that I got at a thrift store, and disassembled and made it so I can use it. And you'll notice, you might notice that it's a bit off color. It's kind of hard to tell here. You'll be able to tell in this one. It's off color. And that's because you can see there's a huge stick of Palo Santo in there. There's also a rose quartz in there. Now this obviously is snow that I gathered when it snowed and allowed it to melt and made this cleansing water. And for me, the snow, I don't know, something about snow is so, I know it can be quite harsh, and you know, but where I live, snow is such a rare thing, and it's so magical, really. And I associate it with kind of a love vibe. Maybe it's because of the time of year too. You know, you cuddle up, you get warm. But I made a love water with it. So there's rose oil and, like I said, rose quartz and Palo Santo. So it's a clearing love. So it brings the energy of love behind clearing the energy. Then there's this one that's in an old bottle, but it's not what it originally was. It is now rue water. Now I made this, I don't eat, like, again, maybe 12 years ago. It's somewhere between 10 and 12 years ago for sure. And I had forgot about it once we moved in here until I went to make this video. So for the past 7 years, I've even forgotten that I had it. And I have quite a bit left in the bottle. And all I did was add rue and water. That's it. And it smells amazing. I love this water. And of course, it's good for anything that rue is good for. Now, the first things I personally think of when I think of rue are sort of retribution, return to sender, sort of darker, quote unquote, purposes. But it's great for a number of things that are positive and beautiful as well. Then my newest addition, I've just made this. I've had it for about a month. I haven't used it at all because I'm still letting it steep and marinate and charge and just become a beautiful water. So in here I just have water, and I put a little bit of organic witch hazel, drop maybe 2 of cedar oil, and then a nice sprig here. You can't really see it, but maybe you can. There we go. Of sweetgrass. And so there's a shop that's like 2 hours away that has this amazing sweetgrass spray. And I want it so much, but I never get out there. It's so far away, and there's nothing else in the place that it's at. So if I go there, it's just for that. So I just haven't been able to go, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own water. And initially, it had, of course, more of a cedar smell than anything, but it's starting to get that nice sweetgrass smell to it. It's kind of an amalgamation of both at the moment, but I've got nothing but time for it to go ahead and steep and become strong and beautiful and smell glorious. So that's my cleansing water, guys. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about incense. Now, I'm a hem girl. I love hem incense. Now, having said that, when hem gets it right, it's great. And when they get it wrong, it is so bad. So it's kind of a crapshoot when it comes to hem. But the ones that I do like, I love. I absolutely adore them with every fiber of my being. So I've got some cones here. I've got some rose, frankincense and myrrh, dragon's blood, and the moon. I like these two. I love dragon's blood. It is one of my absolute favorite hem incense. And the moon one, it has a very sort of mild fragrance in my opinion, and it's a clean smell, I would say. So it's pleasant. It's not unpleasant at all. It's just not something that gets me excited. It's not something that puts me in a frame of mind to do magic or ritual or any kind of spiritual work, really. So it's just nice as an incense, I guess, but not as part of my practice necessarily. Now, Sandy, if you're watching, you may recognize this. I got this box from the Artistic Mystics Rummage and Barter page on Facebook. She puts lots of really cool things up there, and they're very inexpensive. There are even times when all she wants is you to pay the shipping, and she'll send it to you. But I just kind of fell in love with this. I did, if you notice, Sandy, I had to mess with it a bit. I painted it black because it was just wood colored, other than the burning, and I thought the black matched the burning. And then I added some color, some pretty colors, because it was just all wood grain, but I think it looks much better with this sort of light wash of color on it. Anyway, check out Sandy's page if you haven't before. Okay, so here I've got these Witchy Woman incense that I got from Brittany from Palm Tree Bewitchery. I have these two from Wildberry Incense. This is Good Earth and India Moon. I had another one, but I've already burnt it all. These incense are amazing, guys. They smell so good. They burn so good. When my house was in complete disarray and I was having mildew issues because of the hurricane before we got it under control, I was saved by these Wildberry incense. They kept the house smelling good. You couldn't smell the damp, and I wasn't getting headaches whenever I burned them. So, great incense. This is a newer one that I've tried. These Hari Amber and Sandalwood. I like them. To me, they're in between like a really high-end incense and a hem incense as far as like quality goes. They are a little more expensive. I think they're like $5 or $6 for a pack, maybe, I don't know. But I like them. And I'm drawn to all of this kind of thing. I don't work overly much with Hindu gods or goddesses, but I definitely have an affinity, and that's a story for another day, a witchy tale. This is one of my all-time favorite incense ever. It is the Triloka Isis Rose, and I cannot come by them. I've seen them on the internet. I don't know. I've had this forever, because when I worked at the shop at Compass Rose, my boss lady ordered them from me, a wholesale bulk. So I ended up with like 12 packs of these, and at least 12 or 20, I don't know. And so I've been burning them forever. I'm down to like, I think I have 2 left. And I have 1. And I don't want to burn it. I don't want to burn it because I love this. I love it so much, and I'll be out. I don't know when I'll get more. This is my all-time favorite rose incense ever. I absolutely love India Temple incense. Again, this is the kind of incense that I can't really describe it, but it puts you in a spiritual space, a space for meditation or yoga or something. You know, I love it. Of course, I've got nag. Who doesn't have nag? This, some people aren't crazy about this, but this is my favorite incense ever, even above the rose one. Like, this is my favorite. This, the rose and dragon's blood are my 3 favorites, but this hem amber incense is amazing to me. It is my favorite. I love it above all other incense that I've ever smelled. Oh, and another one of my incense that I haven't showed yet is a favorite too, but I'll get to that. More dragon's blood. Can never have too much dragon's blood. And you know, I don't know what it is, but when I burn a dragon's blood incense, I automatically perk up and I'm like, ooh, time for magic. Like, I just feel like, okay, I need to do spellcraft right now. Even if I don't actually do it, that's how it makes me feel. So I love that. This Egyptian jasmine, I really like. I wouldn't go so far to say I love it, but I really do like it. It does have I can smell the jasmine. It has this sort of perfumey fragrance, but not, I don't know, a lot of times, see, like I wrote, it's a musky floral fragrance. A lot of times I'm not into that, but to the perfumey type smell, but I guess it leans more for me toward a cologne, which is for some reason I don't find as offensive. I don't know. We've got sandal. I really like. Cedar. I haven't been, to me, this does not smell like cedar when I burn it. So I'm not thrilled with this one. I hope to find a better cedar. I'm thinking maybe in a version more like this, I might get something more like what I'm looking for. This honey, I don't like it at all. At all. I've burned 2 sticks and don't like it. To me, it smells like wood burning. It just smells like the stick burning. Yeah, I don't know if I got a bad pack or if I just have only, got a couple duds in my pack and those are the ones I've burned. I'm going to give it another shot, but I'm not feeling it at all. It might be one that I have to pass to my son. He loves to burn incense. If he can stand it, it might end up in his collection. My youngest. And then there's this black opium, which I really like. I have heard from some people that the regular opium is better. So I'm looking forward to trying that at some point. But I do like this. It's almost spicy in a way, but not like a pumpkin spice or something. But I enjoy it. It's hard to describe the way incense smell. But, we try. Then I have these sandalwood rope incense and these rose rope incense, and Donna from Embracing the Moon put me onto these. She likes to do divination with them, which I think is really cool, like scrying in the smoke. And this rose one is probably my second favorite rose incense that I've ever owned. It smells amazing. I love it. Is probably just as good as the Triloka. It's just they don't last as long when you burn them. Okay, and here's my next canister of incense. So first we have these really cheapy dollar store scented garden incense. These are jasmine. I hate them. I hate everything about them. To me, it's old lady perfume all up in my house. I don't like it. Another one I may try to pawn off on my son, though I don't know if he'll be into it either. I kind of doubt it. And then I have these Ganesh sandalwood. Now, I have heard so many really good things about these incense, and I mean, this is the only one I've tried and I'm not impressed. It's not a good sandalwood to me. So, I mean, I am still going to be open-minded and try other ones, but another one I might pawn off on my kid because, ew. It's hard once once you've had a really good incense and a certain flavor, a certain fragrance, and then you get one that's not as good. It's like, yeah, no. These are Nature. This is Divine Rose, and these are artisan incense, so they cost a bit more. The last two I showed you are very inexpensive, but they're worth it. They burn really well and they smell amazing. This is another really good rose one, just not quite as good as the other two, to me. Nature. We have frankincense and myrrh, really good, love it. Sticky, good burning incense. Dragon's blood, Nature, again, good, really like it, but I don't know. I really love the Dragon's Blood by Hem, and it does have a bit of a different fragrance. Granted, this one is actually more authentic. It smells more like actual Dragon's Blood resin than the Hem ones, but I don't know. I just love the Hem ones. And lastly, these are Moldavite incense, and the fragrance of them, I mean, Moldavite is well, technically it's not a crystal, but it's a crystal, and so it's a stone. What does that smell like? I don't know what that smells like, but this is what the tag, this is for the bath salts, but it's the same exact thing except for it would say incense. I'm not sure who makes them because it doesn't have a manufacturer, it doesn't say any name. Moldavite Direct at Hotmail is their Moldavite Direct at Hotmail. So I don't know, but you can find this on the internet. I love this incense. It's another of my favorite. It smells, it's almost got this baby powder smell to it. I don't know, it doesn't smell like baby powder, but there's just, I cannot describe what it smells like, but I really love it. And my husband and I, it's another one that we buy in bulk, have bought in bulk. So I've been burning through these. We had like, I don't know, 8 or 10. We would get them at gem and mineral shows. So, I mean, that's been a very long time. But so basically that's what I'm working with, other than bells and chimes and rattles and stuff when it comes to clearing energy and creating energy in my space. I hope that wasn't boring for you. Thanks for watching, and until next time, much love and gratitude.